Without any further ado, I would like to welcome to DragonCon, Miss Elijah Dushku. Miss Julie Wins. James Marston. Nicholas Wendell. Claire Kramer. Good afternoon, everyone.
They gave us paper and pen, man, so we're taking names, man.
Hi. But first I want to say, I was at the Friday panel, and on behalf of what I'm sure is the vast majority of the fans, I want to apologize if there was anything disrespectful or hurtful said to you guys. I'm sure it wasn't too much, but I think it's just some things came across a little weird, and I just want to say that we all love you guys. We appreciate you coming out here so much. It means so much to us, actually.
So, did we get blamed for the economy again?
My question is, what was your favorite aspect of your character, or characters?
One question, I think it's a while.
My favorite aspect of my character? Just, this is really hard to pass.
Well, I always have something to say, so. I think with Gloria, I love the fact that she wasn't, even though she was obviously an adversary to Buffy, she wasn't out to, from her point of view, Harmony One. She took herself very nonchalantly, and she just was going about her business, and whoever was in her way maybe suffered. But she didn't have that attitude of destruction and, you know, demise. She just had a positive outlook and just wanted to go home. So that was a really fun aspect of playing her.
My sense of humor.
My eyeliner. Yeah, a little bit of eyeliner, yeah. I kept like, makeup people would come and go, and like they would always be like, I would be like, there's a little more eyeliner. Like, they're gonna catch you, man. They're gonna catch you using eyeliner. Like, that's the point. It's punk rock, guys. I wanted there to be a scene where I'm actually putting it on in front of the mirror. Punk rock, yeah. Whenever I go on the set now, I'm always asking, give me a little bit of that Nicolas Cage stuff, man. Just a little bit. Like,
What did I like about Darla? 400 years old. Pretty epic. I have a good doctor. I liked that Faith was the contrast to Buffy. I mean, growing up, there were always the lovely blonde-haired, blue-eyed girls next door, which was great. But I was always different, and I liked the self-confidence. Well, just, you know, I was a bit of a punk, and I was a little bit, you know, I love that she was ballsy.
This ugly.
really embraced her for being different than Buster.
I guess after all this thought, I would feel something better. But I think my favorite part about Harmony was just being able to say probably the meanest things to people and not even realizing I was doing it. That was kind of fun.
Hello, thanks for coming out, guys. My question is, for those of you that work both on Buffy and Angel, what were the similarities or difference in the dynamic, like on set?
For me, you know, Buffy shot in Santa Monica and it was closer to my house. I just had a longer commute when I went to Angel. I sat in a little more traffic, but other than that, it was great.
We were known as Buffy the Weekend Slave. We would work 12 to 20 hours a day on Buffy. Buffy had a little more bigger of a budget, and the bigger the budget, the longer the hours. And so it was a relief to go to Angel because they didn't have as much money, so it was like 12 hours an hour. We don't care. We're out. But you know, basically, it was the same directors, the same writers, and obviously a lot of the same actors. So a lot of it was very similar. Yeah.
It's actually nice. It was nice transition. It wasn't like having to meet a whole set of new people. Because, you know, being the new kid on the block, it was just like family.
It was closer to my house, so I could reach down the hill. But it was also, it was a later time slot, so it was a little bit edgier, it was a little bit darker, but the on-set vibe was totally goofier because of David. Because David flashes everybody and, you know, farts and says all those things. Yeah.
You never pulled that out in front of me. That was to me.
Shocking.
I love these signs, by the way. Smile, you're on DragonCon. So you did it. Like, what happened to make them have to put that sign on? Next question.
Hi. I have a question for the whole panel. You guys have, you know, you've had so many different roles, and sometimes within the same character, like different roles, like with Echo, with Harmony, and I can think as a fan, Whedonworks or otherwise, you know, I can think of a scene for each one of you that I personally thought, well, it was so strong with the character or whatever. I want to know, acting-wise, what was your favorite scene in your whole career that you did that you was just like, this is amazing, and you know, just that kind of thing.
That was actually seen by people?
Nick makes his own private movies.
Between the penis thing, it's amazing.
I love these questions. What's your favorite thing about yourself?
You don't ask actors that, you know what I mean? You get a lot of pontificating at this point, you know?
I liked Pam blowtorching Wesley. That torture scene, he was so brave. What a trooper. He was like, hit me harder. I hit you, bro.
Favorite scene ever in my career? Is that the question? Ever. I mean, working with Jack Nicholson, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, and as good as it gets. I mean, I don't know. I was very young, I didn't know what I was doing, and he's Jack.
Okay, this is the most afraid I ever was. It was actually doing Dragon Ball, and they discovered that they didn't want to use the stuntman because they didn't want to put him through the same 4-hour makeup process because there was a money issue, right? So I remember realizing that they're not ever going to use Danny Hernandez. And they called me to the set, and my fiance's with me, and they got Danny up on a wire 30 feet above this cliff face, and Danny kind of takes a half step off into the air with the idea that he's being sucked by this magical thing, you know, off the cliff. And Danny oversells it a little bit. It goes beyond where he should, and it just cheese grates against the cliff wall. And they lower him down. He's all kind of living in the dressing room. And he goes, "Okay, James, you ready?" Hernandez, he's great. And then the stunt the leader of the stunt guy, JoJo, said that I did it better than Danny. And I was like, shut up. That was certainly the most frightened I ever was. Yeah.
I actually, my real name is Danny Hernandez, so not doing James' stunts on Dragon.
I don't know, as cheesy as it is, maybe like the first ever time I stepped out on stage when I was a kid doing a play. Yes. And it was a really big play, and I was only 10. It was the first thing I'd ever done, and I was hooked after that. So that was probably the most pivotal moment in my life, for sure.
I've acted with dogs like little puppies before.
Alright, I'm going to pass on this because I don't know. If I think of a good one, I'll answer it by the end of the session.
Yeah, it's gonna happen now.
Okay, so my question is for James. But first, I wanted to say I'm a close personal friend of Xander's. But
I got right to Dorothy. It's just roll with it.
On set, I just want to know what was in the cups every time you were drinking blood at Spike.
Oh, dude. No, man, it was Strawberry Quick. And that was some nasty syrup. I have to say, they actually, after a while, they would have a paramedic on the set because one of the actors, not me, but one of the actors once actually went into some kind of shock. And yeah. Because you don't drink it one time. You drink it like 14 times for all the different takes and everything.
Unless you're an angel, they don't need the budget for 14 years.
Yeah. Retakes then, like, Christ. But yeah, some guy drank a bunch of blood and just nosedived into the concrete, so they always had a paramedic stand by. And I always thought, I don't want to sip it daintily. I want to drink it hungrily, so I would just chug that stuff. And it was like, okay, no lunch for me.
Real blood is in milk.
Yeah, man.
Ew!
Hi.
Hey.
I wonder if you guys could tell us what upcoming projects you have that we should be looking for you.
That's awesome.
It's like we were playing.
Damn. Woo! I think I just got killed off on Hawaii 5-0 last week.
Did you really?
Yeah, they slit my throat. But not before I knifed McGarrett in the belly. That was good. Alex is a great guy, by the way. He's a stunt coordinator in Australia. He's certified, so he kicks in. I'm on a new episode of Supernatural coming up. We might be touring a play to China called The Pentagon Papers, produced by the State Department. So, hey, Hillary, I'm out here for you! We might be going to Europe to film kind of a Twilight Zone thing, but that may or may not work out. We're going to see if they have that. And then my band, Ghost of the Robot, is going to release. We're back together, and we just recorded what we think is our best album. Like usually we're not satisfied with anything. We're like, hey man, this is really good. Like Charlie said, this is one of the best albums of the century, man. It's like, dude, it's only 2011. It's like, regardless, man, regardless. Yeah. But yeah, so that's going to drop on November the 15th on Amazon and iTunes. Oh yeah.
Did you write a song about my character, I heard?
Maybe.
I heard a rumor. I'm producing a couple of things. My brother and I started a production company called Boston Diva Productions. Shocker. We're producing a biopic on the photographer Robert Mapplethorpe right now, and we're also developing another script that I can't talk about, but I shot a documentary about the country of Albania like a week ago. I became an Albanian citizen, and so we went and documented the Albanians in the house. They're not of you, don't lie. I think I'm going to be going back. My friend Matt Bomer from True Calling is in the show White Collar. And yeah, doing some charity stuff that you guys always contribute to, which I appreciate. I'm wearing my beads from Darchgulu. Some of you have bought these beads. They're from Northern Uganda, from former abductees and child mothers. So thank you guys who've gotten them, and if you haven't, go get them now. www.lizapatriciadushku.com/Darchgulu.
I'm on a new series in the fall called A Gifted Man. I have a TV movie on TNT coming out November 30th with John Corbett and Gary Cole called Ricochet. And it's based on Sandra Brown's novel. And I have a movie in the theaters with Dane Cook and Elizabeth Mitchell December 3rd called Answers to Nothing. And follow me on Twitter.
Is this on now? Okay. I'm starting a movie Tuesday with, if anybody saw Brave Dancers, the same director. Thank you. My one person college. Mike Mendez. It's like a throwback to like a classic 50s horror movie. It's a really fun movie. So we start shooting Tuesday. And I have a movie coming out called The Dead Ones. This is probably like December-ish. And a web series called Goodnight Burbank that you can watch on Hulu.
I have a couple movies newly out on DVD. One's called Thirst, another one's called 12, another one's called Dark Reels. You guys get us Netflix, your ass is off. And then I just got engaged, so I'm planning a wedding.
Doing a cartoon called Super Unknown, starting next week. And I'm still starring in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And a bunch of charity work. Oh, criminal minds.
My question is for all of you. Since you played your characters for quite a while, especially in the case of Nicholas Brendan and James Marster, do you ever feel like your character's personality and mannerisms influenced your own personality and mannerisms when you were off set?
But I could definitely, like, sometimes when you're walking through, like, the hall and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
Get that kind of it's like it's almost like you're working with obliques, you know what I mean?
I was practicing that walk because I ripped it off from Malcolm McDowell and Cat Pete.
You did it great.
No, I often got told that like directors would be like, man, you better nothing like the character. So I'd be like, it's a character.
Yeah, which means you can act.
My character was kind of miniature.
Yeah.
No, I climbed into the character for a little while when he was getting his soul back and he was being revisited by all of his former victims. And so I had to get like think about everything that I felt guilty for and like beat myself over the head all day with it. Don't for method acting. Don't try it for television.
Yeah, take your record to drink.
Yeah. Water.
No, I'm exactly like Xander. I'm kidding. What you see is what you get. But actually, I walked into when I auditioned for Buffy, I had a pre-read, so I met with the casting director, and so I had played it kind of like me, you know. She's like, you know, great, let me get you a couple notes. but like, you just did do it this way. So then I'm like, all right, so she can come back at 4 o'clock and meet Johnson and Gilmer. Okay, great. And so I walk into the room and Gilmer, who became the head of Fox TV, is on the phone and Johnson's over here and I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'm like, hey, you on the phone? Like, Johnson told me $25, you know? I'm like, okay, ba-boom. Then I do the scene that as the cat trainer said to do it, and Joss is like, he's like, he's like, that guy that came into the room, can you do it like him? And I'm like, yes. And the rest is Hollywood history.
We just like looking at you, sweet.
Hi. I just wanted to know if you guys ever played any pranks on each other during shooting.
I don't know. Did you? I've never done it. We're laptop.
Yeah, we really. Yeah.
We had a big budget.
I can tell you when we were shooting the pilot of Kitchen Confidential, John Cho and I took all of the toilet paper out of our trailers and wrapped the Cooper's BMW, but then poured some water on top of it. That's what happens when like number 2 and 3 in the call sheet has some time in their hands, you know? Cooper's working, he's like, hey, you want to wrap this car and tell him? Yeah, that's what I do. But Buffy, we were so far behind at all times. We made a line series named Gareth Davies, who was English, but was just a bitch. Yeah. It was Charisma's birthday, and Joss had actually kind of organized this thing of singing happy birthday to her on set. And, this is before Joss really kind of took over as the boss. And Gareth came and like, shut the fuck up! We'll be home! No birthday, and Christmas goes away crying. It's like, and Joss is like, Gareth, what did you just do? We've got a girl in our trailer crying right now. We gotta redo her makeup, It's like, oh, no birthdays. This is my best English accent, too.
Seriously, if we got a comma wrong of the dialogue, we'd have to go back and get it right.
Yeah.
Your friends?
I mean, it was hard. Oh, you can flash someone. You can up trash.
Yeah. I'm not doing scene.
What is a dirty scene? Mercedes like, no, you can go there.
I can show you. They would be in there.
It's a giggle. David and I would just laugh over the fact that we were making a living playing vampires.
Yeah. You call this a living?
Actually, sometimes with Buffy and Angel, they would have you say some crazy stuff. So yeah, we would bust up.
You were, of course, all amazing in your roles. But if you had played a different character on Buffy or Angel, who would you have wanted to be?
Joss.
Yeah, well, I mean, he stresses a lot, Okay. Okay. All right.
I don't want to play anybody else, man.
Fred, just because I don't know what other show you can really mid-season just die and come back as somebody else. And that's really cool, but as an actor, it's like a dream come true. You're like, so I've been playing this one for 3 years, I'm kind of sick of it, and you just now get to be somebody else. It's incredible. So I'd say that.
I like Spike. I thought it would be fun to do you, or to do. For a day or so. And then I always wondered what it would like to be Buffy, and then they let me do that for a day, and I was like, all right, cool, good.
I'd say Larry, the upstairs neighbor, because he always like had dates with like stewardesses and stuff like that. And like he didn't have like, you know, Mr. Furley didn't think that he was gay, you know. So. Not that there's anything wrong with pretending to be gay. Some of my best friends pretend to be gay. Great healthcare.
I have a question for each one of you, so I'll just ask and go to the end of the line and keep coming back up. But I'm going to go in order that I wrote them down. So James, I'll start with you. I started listening to the Dresden Files. That I got into because you voice them. I suggest everyone go listen if you haven't. And I am very disappointed to hear that through some conflict you're not able to do those stories.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking. I was busy. They wanted me for a certain period of time, and I was already filming something, and then we rescheduled it, and then I got busy again, and they said, we have a deadline. And so they went ahead with a really good actor. But I think because of you guys, they're going to have me back.
And jump back on when you get back. But my question for you is, having some history as stage director and casting that, if you were put in charge of the Hollywood movie, who would you cast in today's actors as Harry Dresden?
Nick Cage. He's tall, you know.
No, I thought he had more questions.
He's like the person at the grocery store.
Only in the South will you fucking see that. You know what I mean? More like all dogs going to heaven.
There was some talk in the the Friday panel about the academic association associated with Joss's work. Well, I was lucky enough to present at the second Slayage conference a paper on Anya, comparing her to a Shakespearean fool or a truth singer. And I've always wondered if you guys see any representation in the roles that you played from Shakespeare or classical film or literature, that maybe you had seen a glimpse of another character in your character that had been written.
Well, you can trace Glory back to the Greek classics, I think. I mean, Medusa, Glory, not too different. You know, there's a few others, so I think she has some history there.
I didn't say harmony for nothing. I don't know that she's too Shakespearean in her references.
But like, you know, like a fool in one of his plays. You know.
And maybe just the Joker. I'm just like constantly
I don't
jester.
know Shakespeare.
Yeah, I think my character came from a Warner Brothers cartoon, Spike the Doll.
Shut up.
But I think that Buffy was Joss's Hamlet in the way that it was, thematically speaking, it was really about how do you get between childhood and adulthood, how do you pass through adolescence and realize that the world is messed up without giving up on it. And I just don't know if Hamlet had someone who messed with him that badass. Lysander, I suppose, but that's my best, yeah.
I have to think about that. I've been thinking about it. I don't think about it. I haven't really ever gone there. Now I know someone's going there.
Let's read it once we have our answer. Which is very Shakespearean, if I'm not mistaken. If I know my Shakespeare, it's all about tweeting. Or twatting.
funny, but it's true. There's a bathroom scene in Buffy. I can't watch scenes like that. If I see it on television, I switch the channel. If I notice that there's a movie with those kind of scenes, I don't. Because like Mystic River, those are my favorite actors are in there, but I just can't go watch that movie. So I read the script, and I remember telling Steve tonight, who wrote the script, you know, sometimes you just don't understand what you're doing to us. You write this stuff, but you don't understand someone's got to actually feel it. So yeah, that sent me to therapy. It was just bad. I was kneeling on this is not funny. I was kneeling on the concrete floor, thinking that if I just drive my head into the floor hard enough, I could fly away. Yeah, I got there.
Like it's rock babies.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been nice. You would have missed you.
Hey, I was wondering if you got a front seat. Did you get a front row seat? Oh, that's not bad. She got mine at noon.
Hi, so my question is for everybody. At the end of season 3, graduation day didn't exactly go as planned. So I'm wondering if you all had the chance to give a graduation speech, what would the title of your speech be?
I gave the graduation commencement speech at my high school. I was invited back, I think, I don't know, a few years after I graduated college. But I can't remember what the title of my speech was, but it was really good. So I should actually look it up. I spent a lot of time on it, and it went over very well.
I made a speech in 5th grade to become the principal of the school, and I just promised everyone I'd take them to Magic Mountain. So.
Beige is the new white.
I would say, in all sincerity, I would say that double tasking is biologically impossible, so stop trying.
So, and the title of the speech at the same time.
Yeah.
Really?
It's concise.
Go big or go home. That's we can apply it to a lot of things. A lot of things, really. A lot of things. Laziness and fear, I feel like, just have kept me. And I have a niece who's 8 now, and I go and talk to kids and teenagers, and there's just so much fear, and I feel like that's what resonated so much with people of my character on Buffy. They were like, it just gave me, it empowered me, and it just released this fear that I had, and I just have been saying it since I was a teenager, and it still works for me. Go big or go home.
I have a tattoo. It says Cinemetu, which means without fear. It's also the Jameson whiskey. But along the lines of living without fear, fear can hold you back from achieving your dreams, and so it's a reminder to live without fear. Cinemetu, Andrew Jameson. Someone else.
I'm sure it's plans now. We follow all the current new projects and we love them and all, but now and then with YouTube and stuff, kind of flashbacks of, I think we're in that, like James, I think I see you in George Harrison video. Is that you?
That's really cool.
But I was wondering, what was your first experiences behind the camera?
In front of the camera.
My first time was for Northern Exposure. I was a stage actor up in Seattle. I had 5 lines with Rob Moreau, and my lines consisted of yes sir, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I remember those ones. I remember thinking, thank God I don't have more, because I was having an out of body experience. I was so freaked out by being in front of the camera. I just thought millions of people are staring at me. What do I do with my hands? Jesus. I was freaked. Yeah.
Mine was the first Adams Family movie. And they made the real Girl Scouts.
Clearasil commercial, like shot a Clearasil commercial. I remember walking into the audition, callback, and the guy before me had been in for like probably 4 or 5 minutes. And as an actor, you don't want to experience that. Like, damn it, he's killing it, you know? How do you kill a Clearasil commercial? And then so he kind of comes out, and then I'm like, oh. So I go in, and then there's a director and the ad agent people, and they're like, say that's logical. And I'm like, that's logical. Say it with a smiling face. I'm like, that's logical. And they're like, thank you. And I'm like, fucking A. And I remember I walked to my car, I was kicking, and I was done.
You were doing saying it over and over.
How do I fuck up? That's logical. By the time I got home, they called and I booked it and I was stuck. I was just so excited because it's like I didn't think that I would ever, you know, I got into acting design stuck and I had to actually work. Weird.
I said there's nothing like a YouTube mashup to make you realize like what a weirdo you are and all the weird things you've done on camera. And it's kind of cool on the one hand, I've been acting for 20 years, and so sometimes it's cool and sometimes it's not. Like going through puberty on YouTube when you're, you know, it can be a little gross.
My first on-camera gig, Dario Argento, directed called Two Evil Eyes, or like one of 7 people. It was Dario Argento and George Romero. They took 2 Edgar Allan Poe stories and they put them together, and I was in the Black Cat version. I had 5 lines with Harvey Keitel. I had no idea who he was. And I didn't care to know because there was a really hot guy in the room. I was about 16, so I had no idea what I was doing. So yeah, my first gig.
Is that a question? My first gig? Oh.
Yeah. What was your first gig?
My first thing was we called That Night, and it was Steve Powell. And I got cast. I was 9 years old, and I took fell at my brother's audition, so I just went in and played myself, which is another shocker. At 10 years old, 10-year-old tomboy. Yeah, what was it like? What was the question?
You got it.
Day 3 of Alright. It's a great class. You guys having a good time?
Buffy seemed like a pretty physically demanding show. I was just wondering what kind of training you did and if you ever got hurt.
There was an episode where I forgot what it was, but I was falling a lot in it, and I remember there was one where I actually had to fall. I had to keep kind of tripping over it, and I would fall like out of frame, which I did a lot. But in this particular episode, I kept tripping myself on my big toe, you know, just to make it right. And to this day, that toe still really hurts. It sucks. So I've done a lot of Pilates and stuff because of it. Like, you know, the big toe Pilates, you know, big toe traction. It's the extent of my training. It's such a big device, which is a small little thing, you know? Makes it bigger, though.
I was allergic to the prosthetic during Buffy. During the beginning phases of it, I was the one they actually tested the makeup on, and I started becoming allergic to every remover that they would use. So they would take it off, and my face I'd have like burns on my face from the different removers. And at one point, it was so bad they removed it, and I was supposed to actually go and shoot as a normal face. And I remember Todd in the makeup department was like, you need to go down to set. And I went down to set, and my face was just bright red, my eyes were swollen. And they were like, we're going to send you home. We're going to actually drive you home. And they drove me home. And I didn't shoot the rest of the day. And then they picked me up and brought me back the next day. And the smelling had done nothing. I was becoming allergic to every chemical that was being used. So they finally discovered that, Simple Green, that actually they could use that to remove the prosthetic, and I wouldn't, my face wouldn't burn from it. So
crowd today. Are you here? Two people wore vampire faces. They came. They asked you, James. You know, they had.
Yeah. It's not pleasant.
Oh. Yeah. When I go on a set, when there's a lot of fights, I go to the stunt crew and I go, okay, black belt, green belt, bullshit. Which is to say, I can sell a punch and close up really well. It's just, it looks great. If you take me from the waist up, I can do the moves and it's all cool. But if you really have me full figure, my footwork is not black belt. It's really like it's a light green belt. And so what that means is, because I came from stage, so I was too prideful. I was like, we don't get stuntmen on stage. So it took me a long time to learn the lesson, and Angel and Buffy really taught me the lesson of letting the stunts do their job. And so by the end of Angel, I really couldn't walk anymore. I was literally crawling out of my bed to the elevator in my building, down to my car, lift myself in the car, go to the chiropractor, and crawl across the street. And no SUVs would run me over. And literally, like 3 months, I would get chiropractic and acupuncture, and it got me back on my feet. And I'm fine now, but yeah, I really screwed myself up.
This is why I like comedy.
Yeah.
I started when I was 17, and so I think I bounced, because I was a kamikaze, and I always wanted to do as much as possible. Because I remember seeing the first episode, and I was pissed that I could see a wig flying around. But it wasn't me, so I was like, Joss, come on, dude, let me get in there. Let me jump off the building, let me do this. And he actually started to let me do more than he should. But I used to get dinged up quite a bit. But I was young, and I just bounced back. And more now today, now that I'm getting older, I'm like, I think I did some permanent damage back in those days. It's such an adrenaline rush. I just love it. You just get, scenes where I'm like fighting 6 cops. It was always a dream of mine.
I've done it before in real life, and it's really not that much fun.
No, it's like playing football, man. You don't necessarily go to the hospital right afterwards, but it does hurt.
My toe is getting better, though.
Okay, growing up, I was a huge fan of all of you guys, but I have to say I'm definitely Team Spike. Way better than Twilight. So my question is for James. What did you do to get the accent down?
I watched a lot of Monty Python as a kid. Like, if you notice in the very first episode, the accent's not very good. Like, I come out and say, you were there. What the hell is that? I want to be like George Lucas and go back and fix it. Tony Head came to me one day and he just goes, we don't say it like that. Literally. And so for 3 to 6 months, we would sit down with my line and just break it down phonetically, and he would correct every little thing until I started to get it right, normally. But without Tony Head, I would still be going, you were there. Don't remember. You were there. You were there.
You know, Tony lives a block away from you right now. Yeah, so that's the sound of that. Yeah, we have a lot of sweat. Can you not talk like that? It's so funny to hear Tony talk like an American. Like John Wayne.
No, I never. Such a good actor.
I know that throughout the series of Buffy, a lot of you guys played both a good and a bad version of each of your characters. I'd like to ask all of you guys, what was your favorite side to play, the good or the evil side, and why? What did you like about it?
When you play a villain, you lurk, which is very easy. They like you very well, they put great music behind you, and you stand there. And you wait for the hero to come by, bam, and you go home. That's it. But when you're playing a hero, you're always guilty about something, you're always running to try to save somebody, and it's hard work.
Charlotte was ever not evil, but she was bad and then really bad, really, really bad evil. I mean, I love the flashback stuff. I love playing her in the period stuff. So that's what I guess when she was reversed, really. It's fun to play bad. It's fun to play evil. I agree with James. You know, you get to do a bunch of bad stuff and you don't get in trouble. So, and you just, they play good music. Yeah,
Hit great lines.
Yeah.
The only downfall is when you have kids, because they want you to win in the end of the episode. Like, I remember when I got Torchwood and I called my son, and I was like, dude, man, I got a samurai sword, I got 2 guns, I got this wristwatch, I can travel through time, man. And he goes, Dad, you win. End of the episode, you always lose. Do you win or lose this time? Well, you know, I lose. Oh, what else do you got?
I gotta have a neck orgy. I mean, that's not bad. I was bad once, and I had a neck orgy with fucking Kuzma and Allison. So if you didn't get it, I was only bad one time on the show. And a threesome on the neck.
So, hi, this question is for
you guys remember when Xander was a vampire? I think I did. Was fight somebody. What? Oh, hyena. That's right. I ate the school mascot. And I take that back. Right, I was a hyena. Walking in slow motion. I'm not that. Like to kind of move a little slower. It's awesome. And you move wider, you know,
This question is for Nick. There's an episode where there's 2 copies of you on the screen at the same time, and I was wondering if there was any talk about getting your twin involved in that.
Well, he actually, you know, I'm actually, I'm a quintuplet, so Kelly looks the most like. No, Kelly was whenever it was the 2 of us on screen, it was Kelly. Yeah, then people always say, so which one were you, the schlubby one or were you the cool one? And I'm like, actually, I played both parts. You know, I just changed my clothes a lot. They're like, oh really? Like I thought Kelly was the cool one, and you were like, no. Well, and then people get really confused to where it's like, you know, with the minute that Kelly was on the show, they start to think that maybe he played Xander half the time and I played him the other.
Just tell people I was the one who was talking.
Yeah, but then anything I've done, it's like, well, was that really you, or did Kelly do that? You know, and I'm like, no, guys, he was literally in the, 5 seconds of the show. I love our brother to death, but I've done some decent work.
That's right. What's up?
Oh, I don't hate anyone. That means.
I just wanted to ask y'all, you can do this either way depending on how much you have or haven't seen. Some of you did come into and then off of the show. I wanted to know what your favorite episode of Buffy ever was, just to go back and see it to this day, whether it was one that you were in or one that you weren't. Or if you like an episode of Firefly or Dollhouse better, feel free to answer it that way as well.
What about Angel? Can we use an episode of Angel? Okay.
So anything that Joss touched.
I thought once more. I thought the books. I liked Hush.
We all have to shut up on that way. I agree with you. The musical. I mean, I remember because we were terrified, right? Like I remember they usually drop off a script so you know what's coming, but they just dropped off a cassette. So I'm like oblivious. So I just go to my trailer, put it in the cassette tape, and put it. And it's Joss and his wife playing piano and warbling the tunes out. And I love them both. They're both geniuses, but they can't sing that well. And Joss doesn't play piano that brilliantly. And I was like, what the? And I walk out, and you're coming out of your trailer, the other cast members come out of the trailer, everyone's holding a tape. So we really thought, or my memory is that we all thought our careers were over. make us juggle chainsaws, man. Anything. We're not musical theater people. We're not trained for this. What are you doing to us? And we all thought he'd gone insane. And Joss has finally lost it. And then they cut together your dance number with Emma just to reassure us that it wasn't going to suck. And then suddenly we were just flying. We're like, this is going to rock! Oh my God. Yeah. But we all had to really be brave. Like everybody went to Joss and tried to get out of it. And finally we realized that we were going to have to do this, and we just really stuck it and studied. And no one more than Sarah, actually. She got 2 vocal coaches. Yeah, she had to be better than everybody, but she got 2. She really
Did you even offer to vocal coach? Number 1 of the calls, number 2. It's that's a huge.
Yeah. First step, man.
I would have loved a vocal coach. Roseanne. You have to take Once More Feeling out of the equation, because I think to me that's like I'm gonna have to say Once More Feeling. It was such a magical time. I mean, it really was. It was like after I was actually cool right away. Like, sweet, you didn't hire me as an actor. As an actor, you barely hired me as an actor. As a dancer, a singer, so it's like I'm allowed to suck if I want. If I'm not good, then whatever. And I trusted Joss implicitly to where it's like if he thinks that we can do it, then we can do it. But it was so great once we were like when I got that thing, and then we had to memorize all the songs with Joss's voice.
I still have that tape, man. I want to get it.
Have you guys heard that at all? Yeah. But it was really when I look back, I do these fan meet and greets where we do karaoke, and I end up singing a lot of that because I know it's pretty wonderful. But this last one in Philadelphia, I was doing it with fans, and I just really started. I couldn't. The 3rd time I was singing my song, I started crying because it just brought up a whole, like a good cry. But I couldn't. I needed to keep it together, But it really brings up an amazing time. I just got married too during that particular thing. I'm not divorced, but it was that show was just. That's kind of like a once in 25 year on TV event.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned more about the seasons and the shows from, talking with you guys than I did coming into this season, obviously. But I would definitely say that's the one I'm most jealous of.
Well, you definitely don't want to hear me sing, but I would have liked to auto-tune my way through that one.
I have a baby Buffy, you could be a band now.
Okay, this one's for Mr. Brennan. Of all the Xander shows, Zeppo, Replacement, Teacher's Pet, all the Xander-focused episodes, which is your favorite?
I think I didn't like the Scream Out All the Girls stuff. It freaked me out. I thought I would have liked a bunch of chicks. Yeah, no, I don't know what it was. Probably when I finished reading the Zeppo, I cried again. I was at Starbucks on Beverly Boulevard, and I cry a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's okay, they're good cries. But I was very proud of that because he was finally growing up a little bit, And that last scene with Cordelia, where I'm just kind of like, it was nice to kind of a palpable feeling of not the same anymore. We were on a slightly different level. It wasn't much higher, but at least the perspective was a bit different. And just probably the one that's close to me is the Pack, because I was at episode 6, or the Teacher's Pet actually, episode 4. It was nice that they had the faith in me to give me my own episode. So, but the Pack is probably the one where it's like, oh wow, again, slow motion walking through.
This will be the last question of the day.
Take that literally. We're talking about you guys cannot ask any questions for the rest of the day. Anybody else? So that's better be a good one.
I was wondering if when you were watching a movie or a show, if you saw a role, either present or past, that you wished that, oh man, I wish I could have done that. I wish I could have been that actor or actress.
A show or a movie?
Any.
Something Like It Hot. I'd love to do the Jack Lemmon part. And I love to wear dresses.
I'm obsessed with Damages right now.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with Game of Thrones. And I can see myself playing Khaleesi.
That Conan guy is hot. Seriously. No joke. That's how I'm on Game of Thrones. I'm like, holy fuck. I want to go to the Church of You.
Now that Stanley Kubrick is dead and he wouldn't be directing it, I would like to take a shot at the Malcolm McDowell role in Clockwork Orange. Notwithstanding, 45 takes.
Probably Audrey in Little Shop of Horrors. My brother used to play the piano, he still does, and we used to sing duets. And, I don't know, I think it's out of her.
I'm a big fan of Dexter, but I want to play Dexter. But I want to play Dexter.
I hear the recasting.
Well, I guess that's it. That we all
Once again, ladies and gentlemen,